Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. I am in the midst of batch filming at least 3 videos, but right now I am going to do my September, can you believe it's September, TBR / pile of possibilities. And I just want to preface this by saying we are getting to the most wonderful time of the year. I am an autumn girl. I love the fall, So I am so excited. Plus my birthday is in September. Not that that means anything about books because no one buys me books for my birthday. Maybe they'll buy me a bookshelf. That would be nice. But I don't usually get books for my birthday. So, but I do have some selections, a couple of things I'm definitely going to get to, and then some things that I'm thinking of getting to. So let me start with my TBR. So this is what I am definitely going to read in September. So, well, actually, this one's not quite definite because it's possible I might still read this one in August. And this is, I forgot to mention this in my August Pop TBR video, and that is Heartberries by Therese Marie Mailhot. I am reading this with Sarah at Roadworthy. We had planned to do this in August. However, Sarah's having, like, her library's going through some stuff. So Sarah's had some trouble getting the book. So it is possible that this will be a September book. If not, I will have read it in August. Just so you know. I forgot to mention it last month. Okay. Then I have 2 other books which are definites, which is strange because I usually have more definites than that. But anyway, the first one is my Agatha Christie for September, which is N or M. I'm going to be honest here. I'm a little nervous about this one. This is a Tommy and Tuppence. Tommy and Tuppence don't always work for me. I like The Secret Adversary, but I was very tired by the end of it. It was very snappy and everything. And when I read Tommy and Tuppence short stories, I need to space them out. I do think they work better in short story form, but a little Tommy and Tuppence goes a long way for me. And this is not little compared to short stories. So yes, we'll see how this goes. Now, the interesting thing about Tommy and Tuppence is they are the only Christie detectives who age. So Poirot and Marple are always the same age, which Christie realized herself was kind of a mistake to introduce Poirot as an old man in the 1920s when she was still writing him in the 1970s, because he would have been like 100 and whatever years old. Same with Miss Marple. But Tommy and Tuppence were young, their early 20s when we first introduced them. And, you know, in this book, they are married and I believe they have kids. Yeah. So they're like, I don't know, 40s-ish. I know in their last book, which is, I believe, Posture na Fate, I believe is their last, yes, Posture na Fate. They are much older, so that will be interesting to read that. But as I said, Tommy and Tuppence are always a question mark for me. So the other book that I will definitely be reading this month is one that has been on my TBR since it was released. I mean, I pre-ordered it on Kobo. So from the day it appeared on my Kobo, it has been on my kind of like, I need to get to this book. Then my library book club suggested it. So now I have to read it. So I finally have a date to read it. And that is The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. That is our October book for that group. And we meet early in the month, so I have to read it in September. I have read Hamnet, which I loved, and I have read I Am, and I have a number of her other books. I might actually have to look. I think I might actually have all of her books now. I'm not sure. This one I'm a little nervous about because a lot of people, again, you know, they compared it to Hamnet, and it's, you know, in their minds not as good as Hamnet. But I have, between Hamnet and this, I have read I Am. So I have a little buffer between the 2 books, and I hope that works. It is historical fiction. I am, you know, historical fiction and mystery are my 2 big genres. So it's in my lane. I'm good for it. So definitely I will be reading this because book club. Okay. Now, as for my pile of possibilities, September is Shakespeare. The other thing I will be reading, because I can't tell you right now as I'm filming this, although I'm pretty sure I know what it's going to be, is my Shakespeare play. So that is happening, and it is one of the Shakespeare plays. So that's happening. That's a thing that's happening too. But, you know, there'll be a whole video about it. You probably already know what it is by the time you see this video, but as I'm filming this, I can't tell you what it is. But Shakespeare is a thing. There's also Shorty September. Now, last year, I really focused on short stories for Shorty September. And it just sort of continued, and short stories have really become a part of my reading life. So there's no point in focusing on short stories. So I am focusing a bit more on short, longer than stories fiction. Now I know that there's prompts with this and everything. My plan is to kind of clear things out. Go through and read some short fiction that I have and get it kind of cleared out. I'm not trying to do 30 books in 30 days. I'm just looking at some short fiction that I already own. So I went through my Kobo and I found 4 titles just kind of off that were less than 250 pages. One of which belonged on the TBR. I just realized this. This is definitely going to happen because I'm going to do it as a buddy read with Mariandria. We need to set up the date, Mariandria. And that is The Pearl by John Steinbeck. So there's The Pearl by John Steinbeck. And then I have The Story of Lucy Gault by William Trevor. I know nothing about this book other than Ann Patchett recommended it. And I like Ann Patchett. So there you go. I have Ring Shout by P. Djèlí Clark. This one was actually for my library book club, but it was a meeting I couldn't make, so I didn't read it. So I think it was even earlier this year, I'm not sure. This is a nice short one, so I will read Ring Shout by P. Djèlí Clark. And then I have Love and Saffron by Kim Fay. A lot of people have loved this book. Most recently, Becca at Read Becca has really been raving about it. And it's been on my Kobo for a long time, so I put it on the list. We'll see if I get to it. You know, the likelihood that I get to these is pretty high since I'm doing short books. Now, I mean, I'm not only going to be reading short books, but there's a lot of short books there. Then I went to my bookshelf and I pulled a bunch off. So I have these arranged by height. Okay, so let me start with this first one. And this one has a very high probability of being read. And that is Bartleby the Scrivener by Herman Melville. I actually bought this in mind to read it this September. This is probably more short story than novella by Herman Melville, but it's about the guy who invented quiet quitting. It is referenced in Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. So we have another Ann Patchett connection there. Yeah, I am one of those people who's actually read Moby Dick. So this is not my first Melville, and it's a hell of a lot shorter than Moby Dick. But yes, the likelihood that I will read this one in September is quite high. So this next book, I don't know much about it, but I will tell you why I bought it. This is Looker by Laura Sims. Laura Sims and I were in the same graduating class at William & Mary. I don't think I knew her personally. She looks, from her author photo, she looks a little familiar. I don't think we moved in the same circles, but I am always here to support a member of the tribe. She's also written a couple other books, but she wrote one about like librarians, and she is a librarian that I want to read, that I've heard good things about. The Book Cougars have talked quite a bit about it. Can't remember the title of it, but this one's nice and short, and I pulled it off my list. It is 212 pages, but this book is small and the print is relatively big, so it's pretty short. I will tell you what it's about. In this dazzling work of psychological suspense, a woman becomes fixated on her neighbor, the actress. Though the two women live just a few doors apart, a chasm lies between them. The actress, a celebrity with a charmed career, shares a gleaming brownstone with her handsome husband and 3 adorable children, while the recently separated narrator, unhappily childless and stuck in a dead-end job, lives in a run-down 3-story walk-up with her ex-husband's cat. As the narrator's fascination with her famous neighbor grows, her hold on reality begins to slip. And after a disastrous interaction with the actress at the annual block party, what begins as an innocent preoccupation turns into a stunning and irrevocable unraveling. So this sounds very single white female-ish, although apparently they're not single, but same kind of idea. So this next one I bought actually for Victober, but I think I'm just going to do, depending on what the group read is for Victober, I think I'm just going to do that. But it's short. It is, how many pages is it? It is 118 pages, and it's Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions by Edwin A. Abbott. Yes, so it is Victorian science fiction, I guess. I'll read the back of it. I know nothing about it, but there you go. Amiably narrated by A. Square. Flatland is Edwin A. Abbott's delightful mathematical fantasy about life in a 2-dimensional world. All existence is limited to length and breadth in Flatland.
its inhabitants unable to even imagine a third dimension. But when a strange visitor mysteriously appears and transports our incredulous narrator to the land of 3 dimensions, his worldview is forever shattered. There you go, Flatland. This next one, I would say, is a pretty high probability of me getting to this one as well, because it just looks delightful. And this is nonfiction. This is Books and Islands of Ojibwe County by Louise Erdrich. I love me, Louise Erdrich. And this is just her talking about, I'll read the back of it. In Books and Islands in Ojibwe County, Erdrich takes us on an illuminating tour through the terrain her ancestors have inhabited for centuries, the lakes and islands of southern Ontario. So it's kind of like a travel book a little bit, description of place. Erdrich is such a fantastic writer. I cannot go wrong with her. So I'm interested in this one. Okay, the next one, did I have these right? Yeah, these two are the exact same size, so it could have gone either way. The next one was one of my indie press list books from a couple months ago from the currently reading Patreon. And this is I Keep My Worries in My Teeth. Funny story. When I ordered this, I ordered because it was the only thing available, I ordered the hardcover, and then they wrote me with this very apologetic email saying, we only have paperbacks. Can we refund you the difference and just send you paperback? I'm like, yes, you can. I prefer paperbacks. So I Keep My Worries in My Teeth. So a dazzling, sublimely funny debut that follows 3 unforgettable women who fight back after life kicks them in the teeth. Esther, Frankie, and Ruth live in a small Ohio town anchored by the thriving Juliet Pencils factory. After a freak accident at the plant, these women have to recreate their lives using the only tools they've got: wits, molars, and a new pair of shoes. So there we go. Let me tell you how many pages this is. This is 180 pages. And then finally, this is another one that I got with plans to read in September. I bought it at the same time as Flatland and Bartleby the Scrivener. So I bought these 3 books at the same time. And this is one I already know the story of because I've already seen the movie. But I really want to read this, and that is The Body by Stephen King. For those of you who don't know where I stand with Stephen King, I have great respect for Stephen King as a writer, but his horror scares me too much. So I don't read his horror. Like, I read Salem's Lot once. I didn't sleep for 2 weeks. So that was the only horror of his that I read. But his more psychological stuff, I'm fine with. Stand By Me has always been a favorite movie of mine. I haven't seen it for a very long time. So I think I might rewatch it after I read this. I don't think I need to tell you about what this book is about. It's about some friends who find a body. It stars Will Wheaton back when before he was hated by nerds everywhere. That's a whole thing. Anyway, yeah, so that is my August or September TBR pile of possibilities. We'll see how many I get to them. I will read many books other than these. And as I said, I probably won't read all of these, but I might. There's a high probability this month just because they're all really short books. If you're doing short September, it's Melinda from the slightly future, like 30 minutes future. I filmed my entire August pop TBR pile of possibilities video, and I realized when I was filming another video, because I'm batch filming today because makeup, I did not do my TBR game. Now, this is a very simple TBR game, but then Angelia says simple TBR games don't have diagrams. So you decide whether this is simple or not. There is a diagram, there's dice. So we'll go through this again. I have 3 dice. I have blue, red, and green. These are pictures of my TBR bookshelves. So each corner is labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to roll my 3 dice at a time. Whatever my blue is going to tell me where my starting point is. My green roll is going to tell me how many shelves I go up or down. And for example, if I get 6 and say 6, then I go 1, 2, there's 3 on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll just go to the next one. And then red is going to tell me how many books I go in. Simple as pie, right? I can't believe I forgot to do this. I like doing this every year. I have yet to read any of the books that I've gotten through this, but you know, we're working on it. Okay. So I have 4. We're going to go 1 and in 3, 4, 1, 3. Hold on tight. I'll be right back with the book that I pull. Okay, so I had another good selection this month. This is a book by an author that I absolutely love and just have not read yet. And it is The Lowland by Jhumpa Lahiri. I don't know why I haven't read this. I've loved every single one of her books. This is clearly an old library book. Got it at the library bookstore for $3. So there you go. This is what my is going on to my TBR bookshelf, my immediate TBR bookshelf. So this one probably has the highest likelihood of any of them of getting read. Okay, back to the original books. If you're doing Shorty September and you kind of know what you're doing or you have some ideas, let me know down below. I'm always looking for short fiction. I can't guarantee I'll get to them this year, but you know, I can put them on the list for next year. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.